So thank you for coming to our session. I'm very glad and happy to present to you today how you can bring forward to the next level Microsoft Teams with my friend Federico. Okay, so before to start, as mentioned it before, a very big thank you to the organizer and the sponsor to make this event possible. So, few words about me. I am Giuliano De Luca. I am a technical architect, a blogger, speaker, and I started in May my adventure on my YouTube channel. I try to post 2 videos per week, so there are now many videos, and I hope you can give it a try. And it's the content it's aimed to developer, IT pro, and end user. Then I have even a blog, so where I post more technical articles there. I have been awarded by Microsoft as MVP for the category Office development. This is the third time in a row, and I am also the author of a bot called MyLeo. So you can find on the Teams App Store. It's absolutely free, and it helps you to automate tasks that you want to create in Planner. You can change the profile picture in Office 365, and you can automate other things. I was born in Rome, and since 5 years now, I'm living in Germany. Okay, now it's time for the
Yes,
presentation of Federico.
thank you, Giuliano. Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here with all of us, of you. I see that the FinTech community is really nice. So thank you to the organizer, thank you to the sponsor, and just a few words about me. My name is Federico. I'm from Sardinia, small island in Mediterranean Sea, and I work in Avanade from 2011 as a technical architect in a modern workplace area. I have a blog, so you can check my post and my sample. And I am also a contributor of SharePoint pattern and practice community. Sometimes I post some sample in this in GitHub and in my blog, and you can find my reference here. So thank you very much for this event, and go to the agenda, please, Giuliano, because time is running. We have a lot of things uh, uh, to talk with all of you. Today we talk about Microsoft Teams that absolutely we know everybody because we are using it now. So we know Microsoft Teams, but we talk about how extending Microsoft Teams with some demos, 4 demos in this session, and about how to extend the Microsoft Teams and develop the experience and uh, some customization. So you can go to the next slide, please. And what about Microsoft Teams? Microsoft Teams is the hub for the teamwork in Microsoft 365, and teamwork is how work gets done today. So through Microsoft Teams, we can meet every teams. We can meet together, we can communicate, we can collaborate, and we can do already a work with confidence. And just a fun fact about Microsoft Teams: last year, in March 2010, 2020, there will be something like 44 million of active people, active user in Microsoft Teams. In this year, now we have something like 115 million of users. So Microsoft Teams is the absolutely the business solution, the business product that have a great growth in this year. It's a really particular year with the pandemic. We need to extend, go and taking Microsoft Teams to the next level. How we can do this? Giuliano, please continue and explain how we can do this.
Okay, so then let's analyze now every surface and aspect of Microsoft Teams and how we can bring forward this particular surface and capabilities of Microsoft Teams. So as you can see from this slide, we have four surfaces. We have dashboards and tools, conversations, and inform and notify, and apps. For dashboard and tools, we have the ability to bring our own app developed, and this could be a custom web app or could be a SharePoint framework solution. We will see later in more in detail in the demo. And this is totally embedded in Microsoft Teams, giving to the end user a very great user experience. Then we have the adaptive cards, which is a very great way to design and bring your form in Microsoft Teams. Then we have conversation, how we can extend a conversation. So we have two possibilities. We have bots and messaging extensions. We will talk more about this capability, every capability more in detail later. Then for inform and notify, we have the activity feed of Teams where you get notified. Then connectors and calling and meetings. For apps, we have apps deployment and Microsoft Graph, which allows you to stay connected with your Microsoft 365 environment. Okay, let's analyze now one by one this capability. So regarding tab and personal app, we can bring our web application in Microsoft Teams, and this will give to the end user the feeling that is always in Microsoft Teams, but there are more functionality in there. So for example, you can bring your experience in Teams by using a tab or maybe a personal app. For example, this is another great way if you want to build an app which is useful for the entire organization. Related to conversation, we have bot, and bot is a great way to automate repetitive tasks. So imagine that you need to create new tasks every day. This is something that you can delegate to a bot, for example. Or another great case that I see to involve a bot is to collect information, for example, and especially in those companies where there are several platforms, for example, SAP, there Microsoft 365, and there are many other platforms. And maybe there are information stored in one platform instead of another. So this bot can help you to aggregate information so the user can start to conversate with a bot to find information related to employee benefit, which are stored in SAP, or can ask to an approval request for holidays, for example, on any other kind of stuff which involve another technology or platform. Then we have messaging extension, and this is another great way to basically to get stuff done, prepared already before to make a post in Teams. So you can, for example, clicking on the right icon of the messaging extension, start a SharePoint framework web part, which is embedded in a panel, and with just a couple of clicks, you can create the content that you want to post in Microsoft Teams. This is another way to automate and prepare stuff in order to post in Teams. Now it's the turn of my friend Federico.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, my friend. Yes, the next way to customize Microsoft Teams is using webhooks and connectors. There are two kinds of webhooks: the incoming webhooks and outcoming webhooks. So imagine you need to integrate your external application. You can do it simply using the tag dimension experience. So using the dimension, you can communicate through an external application. In Canary webhooks are really simple to way to send a notification. So from another application to a Teams channel, while the outgoing webhooks, you can message your web service with a mention. Okay, in this way you can introduce a way to communicate with external application, and it's really simple to this. We can see in our demo using a studio. And the other way to customize Microsoft Teams is using Microsoft Graph API. You can integrate Microsoft Graph API. There are a lot of APIs for Teams, and you can access information about Teams, about channel, about user, and about the message. You can create themes, you can create channel, you can create everything is in the around the Teams world. Okay, and Microsoft Graph API can help you to create and enhance a feature for your application. And recently Microsoft introduced resource consent level for the permission. So you can manage permission with in a more granular way, and you can give to user the right permission, so you can introduce the right level of security for your application. Great. We can start with the first demo of this session. So I'll share my screen, Giuliano, and
Yes.
we talk about how to create a Teams tab and personal application using SharePoint framework. A lot of you, I think, that are SharePoint developer or Microsoft 365 developer. So SharePoint framework, I think that is familiar for many of you. And so we can start with in this way. So we create a SharePoint framework solution. So Pion demo, and we start create a SharePoint framework web part. Okay, and running the U Microsoft. Oops, my keyboard. Microsoft SharePoint using the human generator. And this is a long, it takes some time to do this. So I'll show you what happened in an already realized solution. I don't know if you see this. Okay, it's loaded. And while the Your Microsoft SharePoint will be run, we can insert the solution name and the target. That will be obviously SharePoint Online. And after you put some other information like where do you place the files, sorry, and you need to select yes to this answer, because if you want to create SharePoint framework a Microsoft Tabs application using SharePoint framework, you need to deploy at the tenant level, and we choose the web part, and everything is ready for the developer. So I already prepare my solution that is ready. Oops, sorry. Command here, and I run my editor Visual Studio Code. Great. This is my solution, and we absolutely see this part that is the manifest. So if we want to manage this web part as a SharePoint tab, we need to modify the supported host property in the manifest and add, so this is the default when you create a SharePoint framework solution and a web part. You don't have these two other properties that I already added, Teams Personal App and Teams Tab. So here you can find all the possibility that you have, and I can use Teams Tab if you want to add this tab in a Teams channel, or you can create a Teams personal application. I love Teams personal application because you can manage an experience different from the collaboration, and you can develop and build personal application. It's really useful and powerful. Great. The other things that you need to know when develop SharePoint framework Teams application based on SharePoint framework is the context, because in the context you can access all the SDK, and the SDK provided from SharePoint framework from now are Microsoft Teams. Okay, SDK, Microsoft Teams. I don't know if in the future there will be other SDK, and if this property is exist, so you are inside Microsoft Teams and you can access to the context of Teams. Okay, so it's really easy and powerful, and in the context of Teams you have all the properties that you need in order to develop Teams application using SharePoint framework. So in our sample we can run in SharePoint, and we can run in Teams. Okay, so I run the server and I show you how it works. Obviously, we need the SharePoint context because the local workbench don't have the Teams SharePoint framework context, and in this way we can access to the local workbench, and we can put our web part in the workbench when it's finished loading. Okay, and as we can see, first, okay, it print the version from SharePoint. So customize SharePoint experience using web part, and we are in the customer following site. Okay, so we are in this part of the else in the branch. Okay, if we deploy, how we can deploy it? We need to create a package. So run bundle ship and bundle and package solution ship. Then we need to deploy our solution where in the tenant app catalog. I already did for obviously time management of this session. And after you deploy this solution, you need to use the sync to Teams in order to synchronize with Microsoft Teams storage catalog, okay, the app catalog. So after that, you'll see a message here that the app will be synced successfully. And today my machine, okay, today my machine is pretty slow. So we can go to the team, to the app more, sorry, in the app catalog of Teams, okay, and we can find our web part, so our solution, okay, my first Teams application is this one, and you can choose to add in a team or like a personal, so it is the same application, because I choose two supported hosts, okay, manifest, in the manifest. Okay, Teams tab, Personal app, and Teams tab. So I'll try to add to a team, for instance, and I can choose my channel, And here you can, this is the adding application experience, and it works because here there is the else branch of my code. So this is tab for your business. The theme mode is default or dark, and the team's name is this one. Okay, so in my code, I define this business logic. Okay, and Giuliano, time is running, so I think that you can continue with the way. No, it's my turn, so I
Yeah,
can.
I'll share again.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, with the other way to extend Microsoft Teams, and it will be that it is adaptive cards. So adaptive cards is really powerful and pretty easy. And with adaptive card, you can create a user interface that run perfectly in a lot of context, like Teams chat, Teams channel, Teams notification message, and etc. Using JSON. So adaptive cards are platform agnostic because you can use already in bot experience, okay, and or in a web page or in on a mail, okay. So you can use really powerful adaptive cards using simply JSON. There is a website where you can build adaptive cards, and and the adaptive cards are platform agnostic. So in adaptive cards you can already introduce some action, so are actionable because you can interact with the adaptive card, and you can use text, you can use graphics and button card. So in this way, your application will be called from a user experience and a user interface too. Great, Giuliano. Is you?
Okay, thank you. So let's go forward by talking about the cool app that helps you to speed up your development, which is called the Teams App Studio. This is developed and provided by Microsoft. It's absolutely free, as I said, and it helps you to create basically the manifest of your application. It's very powerful because you have a friendly form where you can collect and add information related to your application. We will see later in a demo how you can take advantage by this cool tool. And it helps you also to build, as I mentioned before by Federico, to build an adaptive card. There is in fact a tab in this tab, card editor, and this helps you to build the card that you want to deliver in Microsoft Teams, for example. Okay, I would say we can go forward with the next demo that will be provided as well by my colleague and sparring partner of this session, Federico.
Sorry, I was mute as a.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I'm back in our Teams client, and we need to go to the. Can you see my screen? Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we
Yeah.
see you.
Sorry. Okay. And we can go to the. We need to go to run the App Studio to the app catalog and simply search Studio. Studio is a really powerful application, as Giuliano say, because with Studio you can create a new application with a configuration wizard. There are other features like card editor, like UI tools, and a lot of information about with sample, with UI templates, etc. But I would like to focus with manifest editor, because a Teams application basically is a manifest, and with this tool you can build your application. So I can name test Pune 2021, and I can start to compile every fields. Okay, you can add icon, etc., etc. And when the update test will be completed, you can start to introduce the capabilities. Capabilities will be tabs that can be team tab or personal tab, and tab is just an URL. So you can add your tab here, my personal tab, give a name, entity name, and obviously you can you need to put an URL. Okay, so in this way you'll render an URL, and you can show your site that can be an external site, or an external site that use Microsoft Teams context, or a SharePoint page. Okay, you can do this, and for instance, there is some content ready, like this page, and I can add this tab. Then you can configure bots already existing, or set up a new bot, messaging extension and connectors, and manage language. And a really important thing is the domain and the permission, because if you don't add these in this part, maybe your application run with a problem. Okay. Here you can find a preview of the manifest. So in the manifest, a really important value is the manifest version, because depending on the manifest, there are some feature enabled or other. And the part of static tab, you can insert your URL, etc. And here you can find valid domains, so you can build this manifest manually. Okay, or you can use App Studio, and as you can see, it's really easy to create a manifest. Okay, we can also try to deploy this application, just inserting a packet name, a version. Okay, and there are some mandatory fields, so we need to add. Okay, dev name, website, something like that. This is my website. Okay, partner information is optional, and the privacy URL and the term of use. Okay, this is just a sample. And okay, so there are no warning, and I can install in the finish part of the wizard, and I can add, and this is the website that I linked in my web part, and this is a personal web part. So absolutely, you can you can add, you can switch from one tab or another tab, and obviously it is synced with and perfectly integrated in Microsoft Teams. So Giuliano, I think that you can continue and talking
Yeah.
about Microsoft Graph.
Yeah, I'm going to share again my screen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Federico. Cool demo. Okay, let's going forward with this session, and now let's discuss about Microsoft Graph API, which is one of the main pillar for a developer perspective, because it helps you basically to have a bridge that helps you to communicate with Microsoft 365. So you can, from a platform perspective, you can extend documents, so you can extend existing capabilities like documents, conversation, you can extend portals, timeline, and search. From a building experience perspective, you can create web apps, bots, you can work with device and native device and daemon apps, for example. This is another typical scenario. For example, if you have to elevate privileges for a user, if you have to run an application with elevated privileges that you will specify in Azure Active Directory in the app permission, you can do stuff that normally the user cannot does. Then we have workflow automation and analytics apps. So workflow is very another big door that is opened from here now by Microsoft for years. And I'm talking about the Power Platform ecosystem created by Microsoft, and more specifically for Power Automate. With Power Automate, you can automate a lot of tasks and you can create workflow. It's absolutely amazing. And you can consume the Graph API, of course, even from Power Automate. The Graph API is a very great way to stay always connected with Microsoft 365. You can collect information related to users, chats, files, devices, mail, alerts, events. You can perform CRUD operation in your Microsoft 365 ecosystem. You can create tasks in Planner. You can delete email or other kind of stuff, which are absolutely important if you want to build your custom enterprise application. Okay, moving forward now, and let's discuss about the two kind of apps that you can build in Microsoft Teams. We have just seen before with the demo provided by Federico that you can absolutely and easily embed an application in Teams as a tab or as personal app. From my point of view, I find very useful the personal app, and I think there are more scenario that you can cover with this kind of application. And if you mix the usage of this app with the Teams policies provided in the admin center, you are able to develop an application which is useful for the entire organization, so every user can use it. Or you can narrow the usage of this application to specific departments. For example, if we want to create a Teams personal app that will be used only from the HR department, you can combine the application with the Teams policies in the admin center, where you can specify that only a specific group of people can see and install this app in the Teams App Store. The, the Teams app as a tab, it's useful if maybe only a team needs to work with this app, or maybe you can build a more generic app, but the functionality are narrowed to the team. Okay, moving forward now, we will see a couple of demos. We have a lot of demos today, and this is the me experience. It's very cool because this helps you basically to build an application like this one. So we have here an app embedded in Microsoft Teams as personal app, and the idea of this app is to have a personal space in Microsoft Teams. So this is my context. This is my personal view. Nobody else can see this view because there are different contents, of course. So this is a personal hub, as you can see here. It's available on the Rail app navigation bar of Microsoft Teams, and we'll see later the manifest as well. And I have here several information. I have upcoming meetings, my tasks, personal email, followed sites. I have my feed web part here, which highlight me all files that I'm working on with my teammates, in this case, Ligu. And on the right, I have the save it for later articles. This is another good way to stay in touch with your organization news. So if you don't have time to read an article, you can save it for later. So, and this will be listed in this web part. So the good news here that this application is built without any line of code. So this is basically a SharePoint page shared as a personal app. So if you need just this kind of experience, you can easily build this one by creating the manifest. That it's absolutely useful to have this solution available as a hub in Microsoft Teams in the App Store, and then you have just to edit a SharePoint page. So this means that now if I change the SharePoint page behind this view, we will see the the content changing accordingly. So this is the site where I have this page, and so this is my home site. It's a communication site, of course, as you can see from the look and feel. And I have here a page called My Personal Space. Let me click on it. And we have exactly the same view that we have seen before in Teams. So if I edit now this page, I can see that I have three columns here where I have upcoming meetings, my tasks, personal email, then I have the followed sites, my feed, and the save it for later. Now let's say that I want to add a new web part here, and I want to add an organization chart here. So then I will add a user, and this will, so in this way, this web part will display initially the organization chart based on this user, Ligu. Okay, I'm ready to save now this page. So I will click now on the button Submit for approval, because I created an approval workflow in order to publish news on this site. We will see later how you can achieve this goal. Let me click on Save for approval, and then I will just type in the comment section, okay, and I will click now on the button Submit. Okay, now I will change the perspective because I have to approve this news. I'm here in as another user. I'm Ligu in this case. I'm impersonating him, and I need to approve now this approval request. That should come in a bit. Here we go. So I have here a request related to my personal space page. This is the URL. So, and this is the requester, and the status is pending for response. I approve it now. So then if I switch back on my Giuliano view, and if I refresh the page, I will no longer have the button Review Approvals, but I have the new section Published. So now, if I go in Teams and if I refresh this app, this personal hub, I will have this new section available here. So this is a very great way to update content with just a couple of clicks. So you can collect and aggregate information for the current user. So this will be always the me experience and the my personal space for the end user. So this means that you can change the UI by structuring the page differently. You can add a different web part. It's up to you. But the great benefit to have such solution is to immediately update the content by editing the SharePoint page. Okay, so let's move on now. And this was the me experience that I showed you, and now it's time to have a look to the approval app of Teams, which is a new app available. And let me now again go on Teams. So I have already installed this app, but you can easily search here by clicking on the three dots, and then you can type in the search box approvals. You have the same user experience if you click on apps. So you are now in the apps store. You can just type approvals and you will have this app available. So then here in the drop down, you can decide to install this app as a personal app, or you can target a team, you can target a chat, you can target a meeting, for example. This has been added recently by Microsoft. And now I'll show you the app from a personal app perspective. So I'm clicked now on approvals and I have the view of this app. So this is very cool because you have a big overview, how many approval requests you received and how many approval requests you sent. Then you have several information here. You have the request title, the status of the approval request, then when it's created, who is the requester, and who is the approver. There is the filter, there is the target, the scope, let's say. In this case, this is my tenant, and this is from a personal app perspective. When you create new approval request, from the personal app, this will have tenant scope, so then they will be available here. Then you can, for example, filter, or you can change the view if you are going to use the approval app in a specific team. So we have three teams. For example, we have sales, IT, and training. If I create an approval request directly in this team, this approval request will be listed, so I can directly jump here and I can see all the approval requests created in the IT team. Okay, it's time now to create, let me change the view here. It's time to create a normal approval request. So when you click on the new approval request, so you have the ability to create generic approval requests. So I can type here, for example, PowerPoint presentation. So let's say that I created a presentation, but this presentation has a huge impact in my organization. I'm going to present an important solution or an important product, and I need an approval from my manager. So then I will add now a user here. In this case will be Ligu. I have the ability to add more details. Please have a look here. Then I can add a file. Let's say that I will click on my OneDrive and I will upload now a PowerPoint presentation that I have here already. I will click on share link, and now this file is attached to this approval request. So if you click on send, you will have the two classic button, approve or request, but you can even customize the responses. So you can have, instead of approve or reject, you can have yes, no, or you can have other text, whatever you want. So I will use now the out of the box feature. So we'll have approve or reject, and now we'll send this approval request. So now if I change perspective, let me jump now on the approver perspective. I am now as Ligu logged in Teams, and I'm able now to approve the request. I have just to wait a little bit. So in the meantime, I can click easily on the approval app, and so here I can see a summary of how many how many approval requests I already approved. You can add more than one approver, like in this case we have one approver and we have a second approver. Then you can even select if the request is approved when just one approved has provided an answer, or if you need the approval request from both. Okay, so it's not coming, the request. It's a little bit slow today. Let me check in receive it. I'm totally sure that I send the request. Let me see again from my user perspective if I sent this request. Okay, it seems like already approved. So I think we have some issue here with this app. It's already approved even if I don't click it on the button. Okay, so this is just to show you that this is a way that you have to approve a normal request. But the good news is that you can customize this experience. So for example, I have here in my home communication site, as I mentioned, I have an approval workflow in order to publish news. Let's say that now I want to create a news post and I will use something that already exists. I will use this template, then I will click on yes, then here M365, boom. Then I will add an image here. Image, I will use the stock images, which is very cool. Then let's just take one picture. I will add this one. And now I have this button here available, submit for approval. I don't have the publish button because I enabled a Power Automate workflow behind the pages library, so behind the publishing process. So I will click now on the button and I will add a comment here. Please review this important news. Then I will click on submit and the approver of this workflow will get a notification directly in Teams through the approvals app. So how I can turn on this workflow? You don't need to start from scratch, but you can use the out-of-the-box feature provided here in the command bar. So if you go on the pages library and if you click on automate, you can go over Power Automate and then you can click on configure page approval workflow. This will create for you a Power Automate process that you can reuse. So jumping now on Power Automate, I want to show you this this workflow. I already clicked on the button, so I already have this Power Automate process here available called home site page approval. Let's click on edit because I want to show you how it looks like this this Power Automate process. So we have here for a selected item. So when an item basically is created in the page library, we have several steps here embedded in a scope. This is a best practice in Power Automate to work always with scope, especially if you want to catch some exception for some block. If this, for example, if this scope in any of these steps available, there is an exception, you can trigger another scope, or you can log this error in some table or in some list. Then we have another step here that help us to collect information related to the news. So finally, we have another step here that basically set the content approval status to pending in the page library. And then we have the classic approval connector. So this send an approval request to the approver. In this case, I have added Ligu, and then I added here several information related to the details. I embedded here some information to the description of this page, and then we have the approval link to approve directly this link. So this will send an email, and this will send even a notification in the approval request. Then if this request is approved, the status change in the list, in the page library, and it's approved. And finally, the content will be available for everybody. If not, the status of the page will be rejected and the news will be not live. Okay, let me change now the perspective. I am now Ligu, I am the approver. I got this notification in the activity feed, and I have here the information that show up directly in the approvals app. I have created this news, Microsoft 365 Pune, and I have here the page that I created in the site pages. Here I have the requester, I am the approver, the status is still pending, and so here I can provide some comments. You can easily click on this link if you want to review the page and the content. So I'm just reviewing this content. So okay, it looks good to me, perfect. I can go forward. It looks good. And then I can click on the button approve. So the workflow will end, and changing again perspective, I am now the normal user here. If I click on the home page of this site, I have now this news published and available for everybody in my organization, because this is the home site. So of course you can build whatever kind of Power Automate process you want, but you have just to be aware and take care that you use the classic approval connector to send notification and to give the ability to the approver to stay in the approval app in Microsoft Teams. Okay, it's time to wrap up now this session. Let me open again my PowerPoint presentation and let's wrap up this session. So I added here several link. You can see many information, and you can get access to these documents provided by Microsoft officially. And so there are information related to the Microsoft Graph API, how to get started with Microsoft Graph, how to use the Graph Explorer to explore the capabilities of the Microsoft Graph API, or if you want to explore several endpoints, how you can start to work with and how you can start to build application in Microsoft Teams. And then we have here several reference about us. If you want to stay in touch with us, with me and Federico, here you can find our Twitter handles, our blog, my LinkedIn page, and my YouTube channel. So as I said, I'm very active there. I'm posting 2 videos per week, and I have now 80 videos. And so I hope that you will give it a try. If you find the content useful, subscribe and comments, because I reply to every comment in every video. So before to close this session, I want to express my grateful to the organizer, to this great event, and to the sponsor to make this event possible. And so here again, our links to stay in touch with us. And it would be very great if you can provide feedback, as there is the barcode here. It's a Microsoft form that you can fill out. It takes just some seconds, and but for us it's very important, because it helps us if the content that we delivered it's good, if you enjoy the content, or if you have suggestion to provide to us.